Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and straight-up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is September 29th. It is the last Wednesday of the month, and it is World Heart Day, not Health Day, Heart Day. And so sorry we were a little delayed. We were having such a wonderful conversation before the show that we almost forgot we had a show to do. So we thank you for your patience as we get started today, but we're celebrating World Heart Day. It also happens to be like National Coffee Day, but I don't love coffee, so we're sticking with the heart today. And we've got some wonderful guests here to help celebrate this day with us. So, but before we get started, we've got some good, I feel like it's good news to share. The first thing we have to celebrate is that in like 10 days, we will have KHM together again, starting October, I think it's 10th, right? So I'm excited to meet so many of you that I have been seeing online for the last year and a half. And so we'll have that time to celebrate together. And also I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about some of the travel news that's come out with the US opening to European tourists that are vaccinated. You know, again, it's cautiously optimistic, but I felt good about that news when it came out late last week. So always keep an eye on the protocols and the resources you're using to get those. But I kind of thought it was good news, and it made my heart feel good. So that's why I bring it up today. Anyways, we have some absolutely amazing guests and with us today. So first up is one of our wonderful friends, David Pritchard from ALG. David, welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I must see you jump on the screen here. There, oh, are we there?
Am I on?
Not yet. Did you click Robbie's webcam request?
Oh, there we go. Here I am.
There we are.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And to your point about coffee, I'm celebrating World Coffee Day, and it's something I celebrate every single day. And just so you know, it is really good for your heart, coffee. So it's not as bad as everyone thinks it is.
Well, and I would rate everything in moderation. So you've got some tips today to keep our heart healthy, and we should say that this segment is sponsored by our friends at Southwest Vacations, one of our favorite ALG brands. Your role is health and wellness for ALG, and you have some tips to keep our heart pumping, and our heart is our most important muscle, right?
Yes, absolutely. You know, and listen, I am so happy that we're celebrating this, you know, in September, where typically, you know, heart gets focused on in February. That's typically where we like to kind of go all in when it comes to the heart. And it's so great to see that, you know, listen, when it comes to the heart and it comes to heart health, it's something that we need to be thinking about every single day. So there's 5 real things that I want you to think about when it comes to having a strong and healthy heart. And number 1 is self-awareness. It's it is your best tool in your toolbox, and it's really your beacon to know that you're not feeling your best. I tell this to people all the time, especially as you get older, is to really truly understand when you're starting to feel different or when you just don't feel your best anymore. That is the time to get in and get a checkup and get to your doctor. Especially with heart disease and especially with anything with your heart, it is one of the things that if it's caught early, you survive and you don't have to have it end. Unfortunately, like a lot of times, people die from heart disease or die from a heart attack because they've ignored those signs. They've ignored the signals that your body is telling you. So self-awareness is so critical to overall health in general, but especially your heart.
Well, and I totally believe that the heart and the health behind it is not directly, it's not necessarily related to size of person. You have people who might believe they're fit, yet have heart issues.
Right, 100%.
Whereas a lot of times we think, well, it's just overweight people. That is not the case whatsoever.
Right, and you're absolutely right, Carolyn. And that brings me to point number 2, which is, unfortunately, in my family, and I'm very open about my story, both of my parents have died of heart disease. It's in my family, unfortunately. We have definitely genetic markers but know your numbers, know your health and your family history. Now, both of my parents didn't live a healthiest lifestyle, so some of that contributed, unfortunately, to their heart disease. But I also know that there are some markers that I need to pay attention to. So the more you know, the better you get. So be a detective, know your numbers. That's why those physicals and those assessments are so important. And you're absolutely right. I mean, just because you're not overweight or you maybe work out 3 or 4 times a week, it doesn't mean that you can't, get heart disease, or it's not, it might be in your family. So you have to start paying really close attention. And that's why I tell people all the time, know your blood pressure, know your fasting cholesterol, know all those things, so then you can start to do things about it early on.
I love that. And it's one thing that I try and keep in touch with, probably to a fault, because you don't want it to overcome your life, but at the same time, being aware is really important.
Yeah, being aware. I mean, and there's so many great apps. I mean, I have the Apple Watch, and I have my phone has all these little cool apps that at least you can get your heart rates. You can start to see a trend maybe of where maybe things are going, and you could be like, you know what? A, I don't feel really good, and two, or B, I can start to see that my numbers are just not really are good right now. And then that's when you can make that appointment. Listen, no doctor in the world is going to call you a hypochondriac because you're going in because you're feeling like your heart isn't feeling right. I guarantee. So you have to be your advocate. And that's what I tell people all the time is be your advocate for your health. No one else is going to. So you have to take charge. And then that, speaking of advocacy, is number 3 is manage your stress. Listen, we've called stress the silent killer for years, and it was certainly a part of my mom's heart issues. Was she was a tough mom, raised 9 kids all by herself, single mom, but she was cultivating this stress in her body, right, just throughout her life. And so we got to find better ways to manage our stress, whether it's through, at our job, in our personal life, whatever it might be. We have to find those outlets and have that self-care as a priority, because I'll tell you that if you can just manage your stress and not let it affect you as much, you are doing such a big step in preventing heart issues.
That's when we get up and we go outside and take deep breaths or go for a walk. Even if you're still on hold, go take that walk around the block to help just chill out a little bit.
You're absolutely right. And I love that you said breath work, because that is such a big, important piece to just oxygen, blood flow. Your heart loves when you take big, deep breaths. So when you're feeling overwhelmed and, like you said, on the phone, on hold, that is your opportunity to be your advocate and use that time to take deep breaths and manage all of that unnecessary noise that is coming in and wreaking havoc. It's like the leaky faucet, right? It's the gush of water that doesn't cause the problem in your basement, because you know it's there, it's coming, you got to do something about it. It's the leaky faucet that, over a couple of weeks or a month that you're not paying attention to that causes the most damage. And that's what happens with your health and your heart. It's that tiny little drip of chronic stress and chronic health issues that are just over and over every single day, that we need to find those methods to stop it and plug it, because it'll only get worse. And then my last 2 are really kind of, what you would think of when you think of heart health, which is let's eat better, right? Okay, now before I say that, I don't want everyone to roll their eyes, but really what I want you to think about when it comes to heart healthy focus when it comes to food is look at your sodium intake. If you're not ready to make a huge major change right now in your food, just look at the amount of sodium that's in your food, like preservatives. If you take a can of soup, it has about 1,500 milligrams of sodium. Woo, that's a lot. That is a lot of salt. And that is worse for you than anything else. So if you can just start there and just start looking at how sodium likes to trick in to breads and lunch meats and all of those things. So start looking for reduced sodium items. That is number 1. And then also find ways to bring healthy fats into your diet. Olive oil and nuts and walnuts and things like that, like avocados and fatty fish. Your heart, that is like a superpower, supercharges your heart because it loves those omega-3 fatty acids and it makes it stronger. So great stuff there. And then of course, my favorite, you got to move. Now listen, as your coach, because I feel like I'm everybody's coach here right now, I have to get you uncomfortable. What your heart doesn't like is us sitting all day. Because what are we doing? We're not making our heart beat. We're not getting it to work the way it's supposed to. So when we get uncomfortable, like when we go for a walk, take the hill sometimes. When we go for a walk, maybe try to walk a little faster or try to do some exercises that make you out of breath a little bit. Take the stairs. Those are the type of activities that your heart's like, thank you. It maybe sucks right now because you're out of breath and you feel uncomfortable. But later on, those are the things that makes your heart grow bigger and stronger. And you're not going to get that, unfortunately, sitting all day, or as I say, as you go for a walk and maybe you're bird watching. Okay, if you're gonna bird watch, try to do faster bird watching in between.
Right.
You need to get uncomfortable. You really do. That's a key thing for your heart health.
So one of the funny things that I do, so my husband has the home office upstairs where the printers are. 2 printers,
Right.
1 room. I work in the basement. So you can imagine, and I'm a paper person, so you can imagine the number of times I have to run upstairs for a printout. And then sometimes I get up there and, oh, it didn't work, or I forgot to actually push the print button or this. So I must run up and down the stairs probably on average 25 times. And each time I do something different with my feet. Like sometimes it's a sprint up the stairs, or it's big steps. Someday I'm going to eat it, and you guys I'm going to show up on the show and with a big black eye and a broken arm. But it is at least one way that throughout the day, if I'm sitting at my desk a lot, that I can at least feel something different.
And you're embracing your reality, which hey, I'm not getting to the gym. It's not happening for me today or this week. So I'm going to do these little things that add up to massive results at the end of your day. And they do. You can stack them up. I have so many stories of people who are brushing their teeth in the morning and they're doing 10 squats. So you're stacking habits on things that you're already doing anyways. And it's a surefire that by the end of the day, you maybe have done 4 or 5 things that you would have never done, but by bleeding them into your work life, it just happens, and there's no excuses then. So, listen, heart health is a big deal, and especially and listen, I'm going to talk to all the women right now, because you have broken through the glass ceiling. This used to be a male disease, a men's disease. We used to own it, and we used to be so proud, right? But now women are surpassing men in heart disease. And you know what? There's so many, things I know on a daily basis to worry about. And so sometimes we tend to forget about that, but we need to pay attention to the small little things. And I'm telling you, when it comes to taking care of your heart, you just have to take control.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. It's so important to be talking about this, because we all do a job that we love and we want to keep doing it. We can't do that if our heart isn't pumping the way it's supposed to be pumping. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, guys. Take care and be well.
Take care, David. Enjoy the rest of your time in Milwaukee.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, important information. Our next guest has been on with us before. She's one of our favorites, Linda Bohrer from the West and Southwest Regional Coordinator for KHM Travel Group. And this segment is sponsored by United Vacations, easy, safe, and unforgettable travel memories. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. We're lacking a camera again.
Okay. Is that better?
There we go. Hi.
Hi.
So
I like your fall decorations back there.
I know. I'm trying. You have been so busy with some travels lately, but you are here today to give us a little bit of feedback on the fam that went to Planet Hollywood in Costa Rica. First of all, had you ever been to Costa Rica before?
I had not been to Costa Rica, and that's what I'm trying to do now, is travel destinations and do things that I haven't done so that I build up my inventory. So when people ask me, I can say I have been there and I have done this.
And do you feel like you're a better advisor when you have been somewhere, or do you feel like in the past you've researched things to the hilt and you've been able to sell them well? Do you feel like you're at a point in your career where you really need to visit in order to be that rock star?
If you can visit, always visit, because you can say, I was eating and the monkey was playing in the tree next to me. That's not necessarily something that you'll find when you research, right? The sand is brown, the water is brown, which you would see that and you would know that. But it's like, oh, you're eating a guy's burger while you're watching everybody in the pool. Those aren't things that you can say. Like, there's some specific questions that they would ask. It's like, well, the resort, Planet Hollywood, Costa Rica, it's very interesting because most of the rooms are very high up and you have to take a trolley down to the pool. And I never waited for a trolley, so it wasn't a big deal. Those are things that you don't know by reading, right? Because you can read someone's review and they waited more than 5 minutes.
Yep.
But when you've actually been there, you can say, this was my experience.
So share your general impressions of the hotel. Did you like it?
Oh, I definitely liked it. It definitely stayed with the whole party vibe. When you arrived, they treat you like a rock star. Everybody was dressed up. They did a little, probably shouldn't tell that, but, and then they had people dressed up in character, and you walked on the red carpet, and then you went and you sat down and they personally checked you in. And so it was really just that rock star feeling that they advertise. And I've been to Planet Hollywood Cancun too, so it was nice to be able to see the difference, and the color schemes and the whole atmosphere were very close. So it stuck to its brand.
Was anything different, even though the color scheme and things like that stuck to the brand? Was anything different between the two destinations?
I think the only thing different is in Cancun, all the rooms are all on the same level. Whereas Planet Hollywood, you have your rooms way up high, which give you amazing views, like beautiful views. But it felt a little disconnected, which could be a positive or a negative, depending on which way you want to look at it. It's definitely, when you're up in your room, you're away from a lot of stuff, but you're closer to the restaurants. So it's like you have your room, your restaurants, and then you go down to the pool and the beach area. So I would say it was different in the layout, but every place is going to be different as far as layout goes. But drinks and food quality, I thought they were the same.
Did anything surprise you about the hotel?
I definitely think, because everybody said that the rooms were way up high, but I didn't realize how high they were, because it's like because I was like, oh, I'll walk, and then you start walking, and it's very steep going down to the thing. But usually you take the cart anyway, but when you're traveling and stuff, you always want to be heart healthy and walk every once in a while. So
work off some of the food that you're eating.
Yeah, and since but I walked about halfway and then went ahead and took that cart, because it was definitely a big trek. And I don't know, we were there during rainy season, so it was raining more than I anticipated,
And did you leave the hotel at all to experience the local area?
We did. We had a wonderful excursion day, and we had the option of horseback riding, zip lining, and this huge water slide. So of course I did all of them. So you could choose, and they would take some people like on a nature hike, and you could learn about the culture. But it was all at this one, I can't think of the name of the place that we went to, but we did the zip lining first, and then we went and we did horseback riding, which was really fun. I'm not a big horseback rider, but why not,
Right.
And then it was a natural springs water slide. And so and you had to decide whether you wanted like slow, medium, or fast. And of course, like, oh, I'll take fast. Why not? But anyway, I did at the end of the slide with my feet over my head, and I would definitely maybe some bruises because you went down like this tube, and it was like, okay, maybe slow at my age, but it was so fun, and it was fun to experience the culture too, and see those you know, even on the resort, there's monkeys everywhere and stuff like that. So it was, you know, we don't have that in Cancun. So, you know, different climates and things like that. So it was fun.
So is there anything that you would say you would want to give a client a heads up to? I think I know what you're going to say, but what would be your heads up to a client?
Yeah, I mean, one thing you want to do is make sure you pick a season that is not rainy if that's not something that they would like, right? It was usually in the evening that it rained.
Okay.
And also, you know, if you have bad knees or you can't go up and down stairs or anything like this, I don't think that would be the resort for you.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at Together Again.
Yes. I get to go on a Disney cruise before then, so I'm super excited about that. See you next week.
I think we could fill every week's show with an agent, every single segment that's been on an amazing adventure. So
Yes.
I'm so glad that everyone's taking this opportunity to experience new things and see new things and share that with clients, and at a price point that for the most part is really reasonable.
And I that's one thing I will say, because I've been traveling, and yes, I may have to test here, I may have to test there, whatever, but this is the time to explore and really get to do things that you wouldn't get to do. I've never been on a Disney cruise. I'd never been on Viking before, but this is, I mean, check for those travel agent deals and take advantage of them. And especially if you have no kids at home like me.
Linda's starting her own segment called Empty Nesting, how to do it the right way. So,
and not actually be home, but yeah, I'm home right now. I'm home today.
I love it. Thank you so much. So good to see you.
Thank you. Have a great show. Bye.
All right, you guys. So I'm going to apologize because I don't know if you can hear it, but they're like vacuuming my backyard right now. I've got painters out there painting. It took me 2 years to pick a paint color, and they started this week. And so my hope is that you guys can't hear all the hustle and bustle that's going on outside. But if you do, that's what's going on. So anyways, you guys, I am so excited to welcome our next guest. Chandra Smouse is from the Curacao Tourism Board. We're hoping Anita Canada, one of our agents at KHM, is also going to join us. She is at the Las Vegas Travel Agent Forum right now, and she's looking for a quiet place in Las Vegas to join us. So we'll see if she's able to. But in the meantime, please welcome Chandra Smouse with Curacao Tourism.
Hello everyone. Konta bai. Mita contento ku porten de kimita visa.
I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that I can't see you.
Can you see me now?
No, I think you might have to click a button.
Click a button. Which button is it?
You might have a webcam request from.
Share my webcam.
Yes.
Yes, this. I saw it now. Can you see me?
There we
are.
I'm so excited you're here.
So you heard what I said, and that is Papiamento. That is our language, our local language that we speak on the island. But besides that, we are multilingual. We speak Dutch, we speak Spanish, and we speak English besides Papiamento. So anyone who comes to Curacao, if they speak those languages, we can communicate.
Yes. So I always get excited when advisors email and say, hey, I would really love to see a segment about this on the show. And, you know, I especially love it when it's about something that I know nearly nothing about, because as much as we do this show to encourage and inspire and educate agents, I don't know everything. And it's so nice when I don't know something to have a guest on that knows an area so well like you do. So share with me, like, all I know about Curacao is beautiful watercolor and brightly colored buildings. What do I need to know about this destination?
First, you must know how to pronounce it, because usually it's Curacao, Curaçao, Curacu, anything beside the real name. It's a Portuguese word, and under the second C, you'll see an awkward comma, or call it a little tail. That denotes that you have to pronounce that C as an S. Curacao. So if you do that, we are extremely happy because you can pronounce it. But besides that, being discovered by the Spaniards and then being under the Dutch since 1654, we are Dutch citizen, believe me or not. We all don't have blue eyes and blonde hair, and we come in all the sizes, but we carry a European passport. And the beautiful buildings that you see, some of them are 300 years old, built in the 17th and 18th century. And we didn't bulldoze them to make place for modern buildings. And because of that, we are today on the World Heritage List of UNESCO. There again, a lot of people don't even know what UNESCO is. UNESCO seeks to encourage the identification, protection, and preservation of cultural and natural heritage around the world considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. Heritage is our past, what we live with today, and we pass on to our future generations. We want to share this with you because we are honored and so proud that a little island like Curacao, only 150,000 people, are on the same list that you'll have the Machu Picchu, the Great Wall of China, the Acropolis, the Vatican City, the Taj Mahal, Grand Canyon Park. Do I say more? So we are on that list, and in 2022, we were celebrating our 25th year of being on that list, because when you're on the list, doesn't mean that you are always there. The upkeep, which is so expensive, because when those buildings were built, sea sand, coral sand were used to build them. What happens now over the centuries, the salt eats through the painting and it crumbles it. So it is labor intensive. You have to just, scrape it off, cement it, and paint it. So those beautiful buildings, if you have money, of course you can buy one, but if they are in the hands of the government or banks or companies that can afford to keep them up.
So explain to everyone listening, because I found this fascinating when we were talking the other day, why the buildings are narrow and tall.
Those are the Dutch. The Dutch are known to be stingy, not to say cheap. So they had to pay taxes on the width of the building. And because of that, every Dutch is very smart. They thought of a way of doing it. They went narrow and they went up to prevent to pay the amount of taxes that they had to pay on the buildings. You can see those brown buildings in Holland, but in Curacao we have them too, because Dutch were merchants traveling all over the world. And Curacao, having that natural harbor, is the only city in the Caribbean that the city is divided by a natural canal, and it has two parts, the east part and the west part, connected by a bridge. And the idea was of an American honorary consul who was in business for himself, who decided they can build a bridge rather than having to, schlep on, going, rowing to the other side. And now that bridge, we have three bridges on the island. The most famous one is the Queen Emma Bridge, and it's also known affectionately as the Swinging Old Lady. It opens up like a door. It moves from one side to the other side. If you're on the bridge, because that bridge is only for pedestrians, no cars, nothing over that bridge anymore. In the olden days, it used to be like that. You hear a siren and you see people running and you wonder what's going on. It's because it's a signal that within a few minutes, the bridge is going to start zooming and moving open for the sea traffic to come in. And it's just such a beautiful sight. You can stay on the bridge, but you do not know if it's going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes. You can be in there because there are ships coming in and there's ships leaving. So you are going to be stuck on it until it closes again.
So what does that look like when you say it opens like a door? Because typically, right, we would think the bridge
It's
opens like
just,
this.
yes, that is what you
That
think a
is it?
bridge should be.
Yeah.
No, like it just moves. It just moves. Like when you are coming into a door, you just open it and you push it and you come in.
Yeah.
Like, just like this, moving. Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Well, isn't that interesting?
it's interesting. When you're walking in it, you feel like you are a little drunk because it wiggles with you, because it's being kept afloat by 16 pontoons. The bridge is part of our culture. You get up in the morning, you see that bridge, it's a sign of the sun is out. And I have to tell you the story. April Fool's Day, one year, they took the bridge away at night. So when people got up in the morning, the bridge wasn't there. And they were asking, what happened to the bridge? And they said the bridge floated away. It was so crazy. It was a joke. It was an April Fool's joke.
So I think that's funny. I learned something new. I thought April Fool's was just a silly American thing, but
Oh
it
no, oh no. Well, in Curacao, we celebrate it. Well,
So let's talk about the food, because David was talking earlier about heart healthy food. The cuisine in Curacao is very unique.
the cuisine is very unique. The island consists of over 55 different nationalities, and you wonder, why? I always say United Nation was formed in Curacao before it was a big word legal. You know, the Shell oil refinery settled in 1925 on the island. It's not that we have oil. We get the oil from Venezuela. And because they have sandbanks, the big tankers cannot get close. So they were very thoughtful and decided, let's build a refinery on the island. But it was a Dutch refinery, the Dutch very, thinking ahead. So there was not enough people on the island to work in the refinery. At one time, it was the third largest refinery in the world. So they imported people from all over the world to come and work in the refinery. Some stayed and some left. So that is where you have such a international, community on the island. And because of that, also it transfers itself into what you eat, what you cook. But it even goes as far away in the olden days when the Dutch used to arrive with the cheese on the island after being on the water, on the sea for 3 months. Having a cheese in a place that is humid, it starts growing fuzz around it. So, not wanting to throw everything away, they will cut that part off and give it to the slaves, because we had slavery also on the island. You know, People do what they have to do. It was cheese. They must have had some little meat or chicken, and they will make a most wonderful dish with that cheese. Well, it didn't matter if that first, because when they cook it, it will disappear anyway. And that became what we call it in Papiamento, kishi yena, stuffed cheese. And it is such an iconic dish. It's only made for special, special occasions now.
Chandra, I feel like I could listen to you for hours
There's so
about
much
this
story.
island.
You, you
There
know
is.
what it is with Curacao? It's not only the history, the culture. Well, I should say it's not only about Sensi and Sun. It's about the history. It's about the culture. The culture is tradition. It is custom. It's belief. It's values that we want to maintain on the island. If not, it will disappear, and we are holding on to it like you don't believe it.
So speaking of kind of that cultural piece, as Americans, we love our all-inclusive properties, and we were speaking earlier. Curacao is there's a Sandals coming, there's a Dreams, there's a Zoetry. our traditional American brands with names that we know and trust. And but while you love those, you also say stay boutique, stay somewhere where you can go out and experience the culture as well.
Even if you're staying in an all-inclusive resort, we encourage you to go out. To start with, we drive on the right-hand side and not on the wrong side. You know, the signs are there, you can follow it, and go out, go to the countryside, go frequent, you know, and stop by a little restaurant and sit down. We have this particular place. It's called the Old Market. It's right in town. You cannot miss it. You ask anyone, they'll direct you to there. The vendors arrive around 5 o'clock in the morning. The reason why it is because that is fresh, fast food that you'll get. They don't cook it on electric stove. They don't cook it on gas stove. It's just like the olden days, open fire, charcoal.
Wow.
And for $10, $12, you can get yourself a meal. Go sit there. There are picnic tables, you know, that plastic cloth, the checker and the white, you know, squares, and start talking to your neighbor. He can be a doctor, he can be a lawyer, he can be just anyone from all walks of life, and you can make a friend. And that is what we are on the island.
I love it. Okay, before I let you go, I need to ask you about the turtles. Turtles are a big deal in Curacao.
They found a way in Curacao, and they're part of, you know, of our existence. Yes, and you can go swim with the turtles. Can you believe that? Besides the dolphins, you can go swim with the turtles too. You know, they are big, the turtles.
Mhm.
You know, and it started when the fishermen would come in and cleaning the fish, would throw, you know, that back to the sea. The
Mhm.
turtles will come and eat it. So they know at a certain time of the day, the fishermen would be there and food will be there. So they come, and you can jump in and swim with them. We're not allowed to touch them, you know, but you can swim along with them.
And is this an excursion that you would do with a group, or is this something where you just happen to be at the beach and
It
they're
can
kind of
be
all about
both ways. It can be both ways because there's different parts where, you know, on the island where you can see the turtles, you know. You can do it on your own, or you can do it as a group, or you can sign up with one of the companies that will take you where they know exactly when and where the turtles are. And if I can say one thing before I leave, we are still in the hurricane season. And if there is a good thing to know about Curacao, we are in the most southern part in the Caribbean. We are only 40 miles north of South America. Because of our location, hurricanes bypass us, but it is a dry island. It doesn't rain very much, only 12 and 22 inches, but it is a colorful island.
You have just painted the most beautiful picture, and I can't wait to visit. We'll have to get Anita on here another day when she's not in Las Vegas, trying to find a quiet spot. But I thank you so much for this introduction to Curacao. What a beautiful
Well, I
island.
thank you
And
for the opportunity.
absolutely. Thanks so much. It was great meeting you.
Pleasure here.
Oh, you guys, I love it when someone comes and speaks with such passion about a destination, because we'll finish the show and I will probably start Googling where I can stay on the island. So I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Every agent has to handle tricky situations. Now more than ever, we find ourselves where we are having to figure out how to deal with different things. So here to help break down the steps for handling tricky situations is our very favorite supplier relations manager for KHM Travel Group, Chantelle Nye. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Hello, my friend. I missed you.
I know. I can't wait to see you in 2 weeks.
I know. And by the way, I was Googling Curacao the whole entire time. So I pretty much have a whole trip planned. So
She paints such a picture, and there's so much enthusiasm there. And Anita as well. We'll have to get her on because she has some family ties there, and so it's fun to listen to those stories as well. But
love it.
Truly, it's very rare for me to jump off a phone call with someone and start doing this. And I did that yesterday as soon as we stopped speaking. So before we go much further, I do want to say that this segment is sponsored by Celebrity Cruise Line. Sail beyond your borders and expand your horizons with Celebrity Cruise Line. So there you have it. So I don't know if it's better than anyone, but you certainly know the issues that agents have been facing over the last year and a half. I don't feel like they're necessarily going away. They've maybe lessened in frequency as
Yes.
agents start to figure out how to handle some of these things. But let's start with, a client is disappointed on their trip. What sort of things, what steps do they need to take?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to communicate with your clients and have the initial conversation. What is disappointing them? What exactly is going on? Is it just that they've been traveling all day? They got there, all the restaurants were closed, they're hangry, their flights were delayed. Let's get to the bottom of what's going on. I always let my clients know, first of all, you're there in destination. You need to go directly to the front desk. You need to talk to a manager. Whatever is going on, is there something wrong in your room, or is it that the ceiling's starting to fall down and you need to get moved to a different room? Once you do that, once you communicate in destination, then I would always encourage my clients to, if they can't get it handled on their own, contact me. Let me know what's going on. I would let them know about the destination management company, the people that are taking them to and from the airport. They are an extension of these suppliers, like Amstar for an example. There is contact information on all of these documents that we give our clients, a lot of them. I would always go through and highlight all the important information and the important numbers. And Amstar always has their number, or the destination management company, whoever you're using, will have their number on there. So you kind of want to, get them involved too, but see what your clients can do first on their own. If they can get things handled and everything's good, and the next day they're sitting by the pool enjoying a drink, that's great. But if these problems are bigger than what they can handle in destination, definitely let me know, because then the agent, not supplier relations yet, the agent know. And then there are, during travel and post-travel numbers. And I think we'll get into this a little more, but there's a chain of events that have to happen in a row. Instead of going from A to Z, you want your clients to be educated when they get there. You don't want to scare them, but you just want to kind of give them, hey, listen, don't be afraid to go to the front desk. Don't be afraid to let them know you're unhappy. What can they do for you? Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And, I also think it's important to set that expectation of, right, what can they do for you? What is reasonable to think is going to happen? If people think they're going to get free nights or anything like that, it's probably not going to happen. They're probably going to offer you a bottle of booze, a discount on a spa treatment, maybe a specialty dinner. I know I've had clients call me and just kind of not sure what they should expect. And a lot of times at that level with a hotel, they don't have a say in whether or not they give back money.
No, especially if you're going through a supplier, that's when the during travel number, because you're getting a hold of the supplier that you went through, and they are contacting the hotel. This isn't something that the hotel is just going to hand your people cash or promise them a free night. I think what you said is extremely important right now, especially in the times that we're living in, setting the expectation. We all know what it's like here in the United States.
Yes.
Everybody's looking for work. Everybody's looking for help. When you go to a restaurant, how long does it take you to get waited on, to get your food, to get your bill? You know, the things that we're dealing with here in the United States just compound that when you're traveling outside of the United States.
Right.
Your beds are not getting made every day here. They probably won't be getting made every day there. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to come around. When I was at Live Aqua this summer, they came around with a cart every day at a certain time and offered you, you know, do you need your minibar updated?
Right.
Do you need more towels, more shampoo? Doesn't mean they're not going to do that, but it just means that they are short-staffed as well.
Right.
So
well, and I think they're
the
also trying to, they're minimizing that contact in the rooms as well.
Yes.
I think that's the other piece. So this is
Yeah.
so good that you brought that up, because I was recently, today, I was emailing a hotelier because I had recently, you know, I didn't know who the new BDM was and I had some questions, and I phrased the question to her as, what's the verbiage I can use? What can I say to my clients to prepare them for what they're going to experience on site? They're reading fan pages, I'm reading agent pages, and I've experienced, I tell them to pack their patience. But I also feel like they've paid for this vacation. They're still expecting wow, no matter what you say. And the response back, I thought was quite good. She said, you know, everyone is doing the best they can. There isn't one place where you're not waiting these days, whether it's the grocery store, a restaurant. You know, people are just shutting down. They're saying, oh, you know, the Starbucks in my grocery store, they can't keep people. So at 2 o'clock, the place shuts down.
Right.
Go to another Starbucks. So we're having to kind of rationalize that and basically say this is just the cost of vacation right now.
Right.
Hopefully it's still a good experience. And I do believe that everyone at these resorts is still trying
Yes.
to do a good job.
I feel that way as well. You're not going to please everyone.
Right.
You know, but I think, like I said, I think setting the expectation so your clients aren't disappointed the moment they walk in. And listen, if you set the expectation and they go above that, then that's just even better. You know, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, packing your patients, setting the example, but you know, communication is huge. And that's something that you want to talk to your clients about before they leave. Some of my clients want their hands held and they will be texting me, okay, we're on the plane. Okay, we landed. I mean, really holding hands, right? Some people are like, I'm good. We'll see ya. I've traveled before. I know how to do this, you know? And I send them a reminder the night before, hey, have safe travels tomorrow. And then I'll check up with them when they get home. But other people might communicate with you, you know, during the week. You want to let them know that you're okay with communicating if they are.
Yep.
Because you don't want them to stew the entire week and keep notes of everything that happened and then come back to you and talk to you 2 weeks after they're home and give you a laundry list of things that may have been able to be fixed or, you know, reaccommodated or something while they were there. So I think that's very important for agents as well, is that communication with your clients and finding the sweet spot. What are your clients comfortable with?
So let's talk real quick about financial issues and refunds and credits and things like that. What do we need to know here? Everything in writing.
Everything in writing. So, okay, let's say that there is an issue, a real issue that needs to be handled. You know, while your clients are in destination, it doesn't mean that a flick of a switch, everything's going to get fixed. We all know that the lack of staffing here is bad. It's even worse when you're traveling. When you're contacting the suppliers, the post travel or after travel. Let's say your clients got home, they come to you and say, listen, this just wasn't right. Post travel numbers are there for a reason. And again, everything is listed on your documents. And I know when you have your clients upset and they're coming at you, you then are going to forward that importance on to someone, and you need an answer right now. I wish I could say that turnaround is going to be within 24 hours, but generally it could take a couple weeks, 3 to 4 weeks maybe. So you're contacting the post travel. Let's say they're home. You want to contact that department with the supplier that you booked with, because that department is going to contact the resort that you booked. Okay. You're going to be communicating with them for a while. Now, this doesn't mean that you're automatically going to tie in your BDM right now. BDMs have multiple jobs since COVID, and I think we've all noticed that. They are business development managers. Okay, they're helping us build our business, but they've also taken on the role of being IT people, entering in codes for people, trying to be problem solvers, but they shouldn't be brought in immediately, because some of them now are starting to travel. And we all know BDMs before COVID, they have territories that they have to take care of. So go to the post-travel department, see what you can get handled on your own. But again, you want a paper trail. You want to be able to have your confirmation, your dates of travel, the people's names, everything that you communicated with from the supplier, have that as proof. If your clients incurred any additional costs or whatever, have them send you the receipts. If post-travel is hung up, and let's say that, they can't get an answer for you, and your clients are really like, we need this answer tomorrow, then what I would say is contact for KHM agents, because I know we're not talking to all KHM agents. Please reach out to our agent support at KHM, because they will then delineate, does this need to be escalated to supplier relations, which would come to me, or does this need to go to compliance? Because we have a rock stars in compliance, Janet and Karen. So at that point, agent support will listen to you and delineate, okay, where do we need to escalate this to? And if it needs to come to me, then it'll come to me. You can copy the BDM at that point, if you want to. And then it's my job as supplier relations. Let's see how much further we can escalate this to. I think the biggest message is we want you to do as much as you can on your own, exhaust every possibility. And when you are at that point where it's like, listen, I don't know what else to do, please don't go to Facebook. Come to us. That's why we're here. We're here to help. We have relationships with these companies. We can't guarantee what the outcome's going to be, but that's what we're here for. We're here to escalate, and it's my job to follow the trail and to also communicate with our agents.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for helping us with those steps. Would you please stick around and help us make a heart healthy smoothie?
Sure.
You're like, why should I leave at this point? There's only 5 minutes left of the show. All right, you guys. So I love this. We should say that our KHM at Home segment is sponsored by Regent 7 Seas, the ultra luxury all-inclusive cruise line. And I know they have heart healthy smoothies on that line. I have no doubt. So I love to make this because it fills you up. It's good for you, and it's super easy. So I actually have my blender down here. It requires a blender. If I can turn my screen, just you guys do not comment on my Goodwill box in the back there. So that's my Goodwill box. So we've got our strawberries in our blender. We're going to put in our orange juice, and the recipe is in the chat box, and it will also be on KHM today. We're putting in half a banana, and you guys like, there's my head. There it is. All right, half a banana. What we do here. Here we go. Half a banana. We put in some yogurt, vanilla yogurt. I like to use Greek yogurt.
Yum.
Doesn't that look good so far? And then here's a little twist that I've never done this before. I've never put oats in here before. So we've got some oats, and mine are gluten-free oats. And then we just do a squirt of honey. For that, like, I don't know that it needs sweetness. I would probably leave this out, but there we go. And I really think, and then we're gonna blend. This is gonna be so loud because my blender is old. Let's see if it actually.
David would be so proud of you.
Here we go. I suppose you could put something saucy in there too, but I'm thinking I'm going to turn my, there we go. That's uncomfortable sitting like that. But here we go. Now, I feel like what also would be yummy in here is like a spoonful of Nutella.
Oh.
I don't know how heart healthy that is, but I think a little Nutella would be really yummy in here. So let's see. Yep, I can hear my heart pumping already. Faster. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. Chantelle, always wonderful to see you. We have had so much fun. We thank Apple Leisure Group for sponsoring our show. We thank our segment sponsors, Southwest Vacations, United Vacations, Regent Seven Seas, and Celebrity Cruise Line. We have another great show planned for you next week. Be sure to tune in and have a great, heart-healthy day, everyone. Take care.
Bye.